going to take the S15 for the first drive on video. It's actually all complete, so it's good. Gave the rear end a bit of an alignment. Goes for a proper alignment in a day or two. But yeah, she's complete. Taking it for a drive around the block once just to make sure it's actually safe before I do one on camera. One thing I've also done, I have changed the shifter. So I've ended up going back to a standard style, waiting for a little plastic clip to sit under here just to keep the boot down. But yeah, more the style I wanted was just a classic Japanese style knob. Let's get it started for the first time for the day. Kill switch in. See how the cold start is. We have to give it a little bit of accelerator. Let me get in a better position. Not too bad for ethanol. Deep exhaust note. You wouldn't think it's got cams in it when it does. But yeah, I'll grab my wallet. Just need to duck down the road to actually get an air pressure tool. Check what the tyres are sitting at. But let it warm up for a minute and I'll get a couple of in-car shots as well. One other thing I've got going. We now have the correct boss kit for the car. So we've got one of the funniest sounding horns. But yeah, I've got all the sender back on the steering wheel. See what that looks like properly now. See the power tune digital dash in there. Fuel gauge, got about 3/4, so it's good to go for a bit of a drive. Alright, don't know how this angle is going to work. Made sure I got the music off so I don't get copyrighted. But yeah, first drive on camera. See how we go. At the moment you're kind of just jammed in a headrest, using my dad cam. Don't have a very fancy camera, just the basics. No GoPro suction mount or anything fancy like that. Make sure the garage door shuts before I get out of the house. Don't go anywhere, just want to make sure the bonnet's shut. Let it warm up a little bit more while I do it. Alright, let's go. Yeah, this semi's picking up all the rocks off the road, normal to be expected, even when they're cold. Feels good so far, it just feels like an S15 with an RB in it. Power steering's a bit funky, but that's normal for the extra pump. The diff's a bit clunky. Nearly got temperature in it, so once we get out of my normal... Oh, you took a bit of a tumble. Not sure how I'll quite do this, but I'll catch it when it warms up again. A few rattles and all that jazz. Nothing too bad. I think there's just a couple of panels maybe the screws need to be done up on. But that's cruising, 4th gear, 70k. It's not bad. A little bit bouncy, so that's why I think I might have a little bit too much air in my tyres. But yeah, it's comfortable. Let's just go for a light 2nd gear acceleration so you can hear what she sounds like. Hear a bit of the dose. about the hardest I'm driving it at the moment until I get the tune done. Right, so the test drive ended up giving me a new problem, and that is a fuel leak out of the cap, or the relief valve just below it. Turns out when I put the tank in afterwards, I noticed this on the ground. I believe it sits in the spout. A one-way valve to stop fuel going back up the pipe. So I'm going to attempt to put it in. Wish me luck with this one. Pull the wheel off, pull the plastics off, and see if I can get her in. Probably not going to be very easy, but we'll see how we go. I'm willing to guess it goes on the other end of this hose, but I can get this end off. So I'm going to try it. There is a groove in this one, so maybe it did locate in there. But yeah, I'll get that in there. Probably just put some brake clean around it just so it slides in, and then just work my thumbs it and work it down. Don't ever remember having this end off, so that's why I'm sure it would be the other end, but we'll get it on there. Trying to work out where it must be coming back up this pipe. Hopefully this fixes the problem. Alright, she's back on there. The pipe sits a little bit lower than it did before, but there's no hassle there. You can feel the plastic thing in there, and she's on there firm. That pipe shouldn't be going anywhere. I'll give it a good tug off camera just to make sure. Also chucked another cap on that I had it around as well. Might buy a different one just to be safe. But yeah, she should be good now. Only one way to tell is take it for a drive and see if we get another leak, which I'll do, or else I'll just check after the next drive. Just got to find another plastic clip, chuck that back in, chuck the plastic guard on, wheel on, back on the ground. So managed to take the car for a drive today. Took her out, put about 70 k's on her, and honestly feels really good. My alignment wasn't too bad, drives pretty straight, a couple of little things to look at, but overall I'm happy with her. Now just to go over, do a bit of a bolt check, get her ready for a tune. One thing I've ordered that's showing up though, and that is a Nismo short shifter. Although I've put the standard one back in, it is a bit sloppy, so I'm going to finish this video off putting it in. Another shifter install I guess, but yeah, how it comes, looks pretty much like a standard shifter. New bush on there, new nylon bush on the top, new boot, which is nice. Got a new lower cup, shift cup from GK Tech, just to make sure everything is fresh. And I had a part turn up from a company called Boosted International. I'll show you their website. Now my advice is, buy from this company if you desperately need it, but be prepared to receive some crap. So this is the part I received. It is the Shifty Collar. I don't know if it'll show up on camera, but it's pretty terrible 3D printing if I had to say the least. Just spent half an hour with a bit of sandpaper, even on the orbital, cleaned it up the best I can, then went over with some Scotch-Brite to try and smooth it off. But honestly the finish I received was absolute rubbish, and if I didn't really need it I would have sent it back to them because it was that crap. But we'll get in there, get the shifter swapped over, and hopefully we'll see some improvements. One of the issues I am facing, which I know this won't improve, but at the very back it does hit the surround. Driving it wasn't too much of an issue. I'd only notice it if you're really thinking about it, but it didn't seem too bad. But we'll get it in there, see how the new one is. It's meant to be a slightly shorter shift, so that might fix it. We'll see. Right, so the one that was in there is out, and the lower boot. Placing it there, it is there. And the new Nismo one. From what I can tell, old one may have been a Nismo one. All the measurements line up exactly the same. The only difference is that rubber sits slightly lower than that rubber inside. And what I can tell, the stock ones are generally silver, so as far as I'm aware, it could be a Nismo shifter. Wouldn't surprise me, as it was bought with the gearbox, and yeah, never know. Looking at it, can't tell much from the angles. Yeah, it looks exactly the same, but we'll get it in there, see if it feels any different. If it doesn't, bugger. If it does, awesome. But I've got it now. No point putting the old one back in when I've got the new stuff, so let's get it back in. This one should go in easy enough. The worst bit about it is, oh mate, the circlip. Slide that in there.
be feeling way too confident. If I thought I could get that circlip in one-handed, it's probably going to be a bit of a wrestle. Get him in, slide the shifter in. See how we go. Hopefully it goes in smooth, and hopefully the coat of paint on that's dried. Still super disappointed with it. Hopefully when it's in, don't notice it. Probably try and track down a stock one to replace it later on. It's in. A little bit of a wobble, normal enough. Get this bugger back on. Man, it's terrible working one-handed. Alright, under the dome at the front. And the moment of truth, let's grab that terrible bit of plastic, and hopefully he's dry. But wet on the bottom. Right, just chuck it in. I haven't even tried to make sure it fits right. Oh. It looks like the dome will hold it in place. Gonna need two hands for this. Back in a second. Right, there we go. It pushes the leather right down like it would standard, which I guess is a good thing. It actually did give it a little bit less throw. Sorry, mind me, I'm just doing some testing. Actually very similar. Second gear does go back pretty much in touch. Up to third. Yeah, fourth. It's probably given it a bit more space. I don't know if I really like how the collar looks, but it keeps the leather from slipping up and going over the knob, which was annoying when I was driving. I'm a bit of a sweaty mess at the moment. Don't know how dark I am sitting in the car either. But that's the end of this one. A bit of an apology, I didn't get much driving stuff. I'm using like a handycam, handhold camcorder style thing. Bit of a dad cam. Don't really know how to hold it in the car, so I have to play around with a couple of positions. Maybe make some mounting brackets so I can hold it in here when I'm driving. We'll get a better one for next video as well. Hopefully the next video or the one after will be getting a tune.